Everyone stand up. Sit down if you know exactly what you want to do with your life and how to get there. If you're confident you know exactly what you want to do with your life, sit down. Everyone else keep standing. I want you to look around the room. Notice that there are more people standing up because they're not sure what they want to do with their life than there are people sitting down. I say this to let you know that it might feel like you're all alone because you don't know what you want to do with your life, but understand that almost all of us are in the exact same boat. And you guys are in high school right now, but I'm in university. I'm actually about to graduate, and I'm telling you, most of my friends who are either in university or about to graduate are in the exact same boat. So understand that it might feel like you're alone, but a lot of people are trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And this is a very important question. You need to spend more time thinking about. So what do we want to do with our life? This is probably the single most important question you'll ever have to ask yourself. It's a very difficult question, but I also think it's actually the most fun question to ask yourself. So first of all, this talk will be online. You should go to tumblr.ca/talk/highschool. You can read it, watch it, listen to it online. So yeah, you can check all that stuff out. So who do I think I am? I come in front of you guys, I tell you guys, this is what you need to do with your life. This is what I think you should do with your life. Well, first of all, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. I'm just going to give you some advice. But even then, who am I to kind of give you guys advice on what to do with your life and like some of the things I've learned? Well, I'll tell you who I am, or I'll tell you who I think I am. So my name is Tomiwa. I was born in the beautiful city of Lagos in the beautiful country of Nigeria. How many of you guys were born in a different country or your parents were born in a different country? All right. Yeah, so like a lot of you guys, immigrant came to like a lot of you guys, I was an immigrant born in Nigeria. And you know, Nigeria's a beautiful country and I love Nigeria. But I always say that I think my parents made one of the best decisions ever for me and my sisters and our family and brought us to Canada, what I like to consider the land of opportunity. So we came to Canada when I was 8 years old. Grew up in the suburbs of Toronto, just outside of Toronto. And you know, typical immigrant household, you know, worked very, very hard in school. I was also a soccer player. I was involved in a bunch of extra clubs and all that stuff. You know, my parents were like, you know, you can do anything you want as long as you're a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, right? You guys can kind of relate to that. And then so what I did, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I only had one thing on my mind at that time. And it was a 5-letter word, starts with M, money. So I remember very well, what I did was I went on Google and I searched highest paying jobs, and I searched highest paying degrees. And I saw the highest paying jobs were investment banking, and I saw the highest paying degrees were engineering. And I saw that a lot of people in investment banking also studied engineering. So, a lot of people in investment banking studied engineering and business. So I thought, why don't I combine the two together and I'll make more money? So of course I decided to go into university and study engineering and business. And you know, fortunately for me, my hard work paid off and I was able to get into the Ivy Business School. Probably the best business school in Canada. So I get into Ivy, and then, you know, I was also on the soccer team as well. So I was on the varsity soccer team. I didn't play, but I got a scholarship to actually come to Western and play soccer as well. Long story. And then, yeah, so, you know, I was on the soccer team, I was on Ivy, and then, you know, and then I got a job at RBC. So now things are looking good. You know, I'm on the soccer team, I'm at RBC, I'm at Ivy. When I graduated, I was like, yo, Tom, man, you're so lucky, you got a good degree, you're gonna get a good job, Then I get injured. And the thing is, if any of you guys are involved in DECA, sports, music, school volunteering, you know, it takes a lot of time. And when you stop doing that, you have a lot of free time. So once I got injured, I was like, man, like my whole life I've been the soccer guy. I have this much free time, like, what am I going to start doing? And when I thought to myself, I just started reading a lot about entrepreneurship because I'd always been interested in entrepreneurship. That's why I chose to study software engineering. So I'd always been interested in entrepreneurship, but then I had a lot more time now to go deep on this because I wasn't playing soccer as much anymore. And then, you know, so then it was around this time that I started reading about entrepreneurship, and I'm like, wait, like, if what I really want to do with my life is be an entrepreneur and start a company, why am I in school? What value is school actually adding to my life? And I became very frustrated because, again, my program is very expensive. I'm about to show you guys. I'm actually in the most expensive undergrad program in Canada. And then so I was really frustrated this time, and I decided to drop out of university. As most of you guys know who have immigrant parents, and parents in general, my parents were not happy. You want to do what? Drop out? Better drop back in. You know, my parents were like that. It was like, you know, you think I came all the way to Canada for you to come and drop out of school? No way. But you know, this is one of those times where, you know, people say follow your heart, and it's kind of a cliche, but I think it's so true. But maybe instead of saying follow your heart, we should say follow your truth. Follow what you think is true for you. And that's what I did. I dropped out of university for a year. And I decided to start a company called Attila. to basically help other students who are in just my position, who are basically in school and needed help paying for school. We'll get to that. And you know, it's funny because this was probably like one of the toughest decisions I've ever made, and I was so close to not making the decision, but honestly it ended up being probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. In the last year, in that year, I had so many memories that I probably would have never had if I hadn't taken the opportunity. For example, I joined a company, I joined a startup. I was actually the very first engineer properly. When I first joined, there were 4 people. When I left, that was our team. It was crazy to see the amount of growth the company has gone through. I went on a trip through Europe with my friend Val. You know, this is us in front of the Mona Lisa. This is in front of us, and this is at Barcelona with our friend David. That's me on the bike in Barcelona. And I started a company as well. So this is a company I started at TLC, helps them find scholarships. And I had an opportunity, I got a chance to go speak in front of high schools. That was really fun. I also won a competition. I got $3,000. That was amazing. All the opportunities that I would definitely not have probably had if I hadn't taken that risk. You know, it was one of those things that in hindsight I was so scared to do it, but when I actually did, it ended up being probably one of the best decisions I've made. And I find this is something that I see very often in my life, which is that like, it's usually the decision that I'm most afraid to make end up typically having a very, very, very interesting and amazing opportunity after I make that decision. But this is just one person's story, right? Like, I'm just one person. Like, I can't use just my story to sort of talk to you guys. You guys are all different. So I'm not going to talk about my story today, actually. I'm going to share other stories with you guys. So I have a podcast called Attila TV where I interview young people around our age, around your age and my age, sort of like on like what I call education, career, and life. So asking people from different walks of life, you know, why did you do this program? What were you like when you were 16? What do you want to do 25 years from now? How did you get there? And I'm actually going to share their stories with you here today. Emily. Emily Chen was the very first guest I had on Attila TV, and her story is very interesting. So this girl got rejected from McMaster Health Science. How many of you know McMaster Health Science? So you know that program is very, very competitive. Got rejected from McMaster Health Science, came to Western, which is sort of how we met. And then Emily's story is very fascinating because she got into U of T Medical School before she had a degree. She got into U of T without a degree. U of T Medical School, probably the most competitive medical school in Canada, without a degree. And you know, of course, you know, Emily, she's a very hardworking girl, very smart, very humble. So, you know, a lot of people probably say that she's, oh, she just got in because she's smart, she just got in because she's humble. But there's something that Emily did that I talked about with her on the podcast that a lot of people probably don't know. So I asked Emily, like, so Emily, like, you know, like, when you were 16 years old, like, what were you doing? Like, how did you get to this position? And she said to me, she said, when I was 16, I called almost every single dentist, doctor, optometrist, ophthalmologist, gynecologist, and everything, ologist, doctor, dentist, everything, and say, hey, do you mind if I shadow you for a couple of hours? Do you mind if I talk to you on the phone to find out exactly what does your job involve? And by doing that at such an early age, she was basically able to figure out, oh, okay, so in order for me to become a dentist, this is what I need to do. In order for me to become a doctor, this is what I need to do. And then you get to see their day-to-day life, right? To figure out, do I really want to be a doctor, or do I just like the idea of being a doctor? You know, do I want to be a YouTuber, or do I just like the idea of being a YouTuber? And so you know, people talk about Emily, they talk about the hard work, but they don't talk about the fact that, you know, she could reach out to all these people, and then that's what helped to figure out, give her sort of a clear sense of, is this what she wants to do, and how does she get there? The other thing that I wanted to say about Emily's job, and then so, yes, this is why I bring up Emily's story. Everything that Emily did, you can do. You know, you might not be able to control maybe your IQ per se, you may not be able to, like, some people are just not very good at biology, some people are not very good at sports, all that kind of stuff. But you know what you can control? Hard work, hustle. Every single person in this room, every single story I'm going to talk about today, all these people have Instagram. All these people have LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure. All these people have Instagram at the very least. All these people have Instagram. Reach out to them, I dare you. If you see a story today of someone doing that you find interesting and you're inspired by the story, reach out to them, talk to them, find out, hey, what's your job like? How did you get this path? Why did you choose this path? The internet is there for all of us to reach out to the people that are doing things that are fascinating. And it's not just things for, it's not just for like professional careers like a doctor. Let's say you want to be a YouTuber. Let's say you want to be a makeup artist. Let's say you want to be a mechanic. Let's say you want to be a plumber. You can find all these kinds of people on the internet. Just Google them, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. And hey, you know, I'm actually thinking about becoming a mechanic. I'm thinking about doing an apprenticeship after I graduate. Do you mind if I talk to you for 15 minutes to find out what it's like? Even people in your classes that are older than you, ask people who have recently graduated, talk to your teachers. The resources are out there. Slide in the DMs. Chris, this is an interesting story. So, this is Chris. Who knows who these two people are? Yep. Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell. The two best rookies in the NBA draft. Number 1 and number 2. And this guy, Chris A, he played with them in high school. Basically played with Ben Simmons before he became the Ben Simmons. And so Chris's story is super fascinating, right? Because so this is a guy that he was playing basketball in high school with literally the two best players in the country. Right? So he's playing basketball, and then what does he do afterwards? He goes to Harvard. So now Chris played basketball with the best, and probably the best basketball program in the entire country in high school. Now he gets into Harvard. So things are looking pretty good for him, right? He's captain of the Harvard men's basketball team. He's at Harvard University, one of the best universities in the world. What happens? He gets injured. This is a guy who probably had a decent chance of getting drafted in the NBA, and now he gets injured. And to make it even worse, his father passed away while he was in university. So his life is sort of like in a tough position because he's injured, and his family's in a tough position because his father's just passed away, someone who he greatly admired. And you know, for a lot of people, like they might have like pulled out of university, they might have just like stopped trying. But what does this guy do? He hustled hard, he got a job at Goldman Sachs, he graduated valedictorian in his class, and then he started a non-profit called No More Names to fight police brutality. Why do I bring this story up? You know, a lot of times life might seem like this, upward trajectory, and for a lot of you guys, it's like that so far. Just up, you know. You work hard, yes, you guys work hard, but things more or less just sort of work out for you, right? You put in the hard work, you get the results, you're happy. But what happens when you face setback? I actually hope that all of you fail at something in life. I hope you guys fail at something. Because if you never fail, eventually you will fail. And then when you get that failure later on in life, it could cripple you. But because, you know, people like me, people like Chris, we've had tragedy and setback early on in life, the next time you go through a failure or setback, you're like, oh, I've been here before. It's not that bad. I'll get through it. So if you guys are doing stuff and you've never failed once, that means you're not taking enough risks. So take risks, try things, and I always like to say this quote that think of life like a Netflix series. Just because the pilot episode, just because the first episode in season isn't great, doesn't mean that there won't be more great episodes, and does not mean the season finale won't be great. You like that one, right? Chika Stacy Orioa. This is a fascinating story. So Chika, when you talk about type A personality, I talked about McMaster Health Science earlier on, right? How Emily got rejected. Chika got into McMaster Health Science, and she got into U of T Medical School. Who here knows McMaster Health Science program? Yeah, so you know this is probably the most competitive undergrad program in all of Canada. And she got in. And then she got into the most competitive medical school at U of T. But something very fascinating, during the episode I asked her, Chika, how many students were there in U of T Medical School? 260. How many of them are black? 1. The only black student in U of T Medical School. So because of that, she became a real big advocate for, she created this thing called the BSAC to basically help people from underprivileged groups get into medical school. So the first story from her was that, you know, just fighting for others, right? So a lot of times when you get into these really competitive programs, you become very one-track minded. I gotta do this and I gotta help myself out. Or people say, focus on game. Now I gotta focus on being a doctor. But she said, no, I'm gonna be a doctor and I'm gonna fight for people who are underprivileged or underrepresented. The second fascinating thing from Chika's story was, so I asked Chika, I'm like, so Chika, because I asked all my guests this question, right? I asked all my guests this question. So Chika, where do you see yourself 25 years from now? She says, honestly, writing, being a screenwriter, writing my own movies. What? Chika, you went to McMaster Health Science. You're at U of T Medical School. Be a doctor. Be a neurosurgeon. Why don't you want to do that 25 years from now? And she's like, yeah, I might do that too, but my real passion is poetry and writing. And I thought to myself, that's so true. You don't have to put yourself in a box. You know, a lot of times, a lot of you probably think that, this is your thing. And when you go to university, you're like, oh, I have to do this thing. But there's no box, there's no rules that says you have to do this, you have to do Y. You know, Chika, she can be a doctor and she can be a writer. And a lot of times the boxes we put in ourselves are boxes that either parents, teachers, our friends put on us, or the worst box of all, the mental box that we put on ourselves. So remember, don't put any labels on yourself. If you want to do X and you want to do Y, go for it. If you want to be an accountant and you want to be a personal trainer, go for it. If you want to be a mechanic and you want to be a YouTuber or Twitch streamer, you can do it. Don't put boxes on yourself. And my favorite story of all, Hope's story. So everyone I've sort of talked about today, for the most part, are what you can call early risers. Like, these are people that probably since kindergarten, they've always been sort of top of their class, done very well. Everyone was, kind of like the quote-unquote most likely to succeed. Hope's story is a bit different from that. And actually, I think Hope's story is actually like most people's story. Most people are not the best at what they do at a very young age. For a lot of people, it sort of takes them some time to catch their feet. Kind of like I said about Netflix, right? It's like Game of Thrones. The first episode might not be great, but it's not about the first episode. It's about how good was the entire season. And Hope is kind of like that. So Hope, was a guy, just like me, an immigrant as well. And for Hope, he was sort of the guy that, he wasn't that great. His grades were not the best, he wasn't that great at sports either, because it was almost like you can either be good at school or you can be good at sports, but at least pick one, right? And then the thing was that he was working at Superstore pushing carts, and then he got fired. I don't know how you get fired for pushing carts at Superstore, but he got fired. And so now, not good at sports, not getting good grades, and now he's broke. He ain't got no money. So so I was talking to Hope. So we actually took this picture. Actually, I'll get to how I took this picture. So then he was telling me that. So basically, he got to a point where like he just got fed up. Like looking at his life, was like, dude, like what am I doing with my life? Like what do I have going for me? And he just got grinding. And Hope is a very, very charismatic guy. If he came in here, he would probably be the most popular person in your high school. He'd probably be the most popular person in this room. Just a very lovely, nice guy. And so what he started doing, he started training, and he was also really skinny, right? So he started working out a lot. And then he started training other people to work out. And then he put it on his Instagram, and then he'd be training like little kids. Then he got older. Then he actually trained a #1 draft pick, Kyle Jamal Alexander. Not a draft pick, but a guy who went to the NBA. He played D1 basketball, and he got drafted in the NBA draft, I think. Anyway, so he started training these people, and he put it on his Instagram, and it blew up. Right? So this is someone who, like, in high school, probably may not have been voted most likely to succeed. Probably most charismatic, but not most likely to succeed. He turned his life around, and was able to, like, do really great things. And so when I saw him, actually, we took this picture at the barbershop. So he was leaving the barbershop. I was going to the barbershop. That's why his hairline is fresh, and my hairline, I don't know where my hairline went. But you see how here was that? That's the Jordan logo. He was actually on his way to a Jordan photo shoot. And then he was actually telling me that he had a job, he got a job that he turned down. And when I told him how much money he was making more than most of my friends who have graduated from university. And he didn't even graduate and he didn't even go to college or university. So what am I trying to say? Like a lot of you guys, like I said, you guys probably see your friends who are doing great things now. I'm just trying to let you guys know it's not about how you start the race. This is not a one episode Netflix special. This is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 2,500 season episode, 100 season series. So just because the first episode is not great doesn't mean the rest of the season can't be great as well. So like I said, school is probably going to be the option that a lot of you are going to choose, which is fine. First thing is, like I said, school is not the only option. College, university, apprenticeship, workplace, those are all options for you guys. But let's say you decide to go to university. How much debt do you think the average student graduates with? Is it A, $5,000, B, $10,000, C, $28,000? C, $28,000. The average student in Canada graduates with $28,000 in debt. How many of you here work part-time or full-time? Yeah, see, none of you work full-time. How many of you work part-time? Yeah, so it might be hard for you to understand exactly how much money this actually is. So let me put some context on that for you. So on OSAP, they have a repayment calculator where you can figure out how much money you're going to be paying per month with your student loans. So it's actually about $363 a month in your monthly payment with the interest rate. Now, what does that actually mean? Because like I said, you guys aren't working, so let me put some context to you. What is $28,000 loan at a 6% interest rate? What does that actually mean? That's 100 Starbucks Frappuccinos every month for 10 years. 100 Frappuccinos. I know some of you guys like Starbucks, right? How many of you, imagine buying 100 Starbucks Frappuccinos every single month for the next 10 years. What's that? That's like 3 a day, every single day. 3 iPhone 11s every single year. So how many of you have the latest iPhone? Don't be shy. Imagine buying 3 brand new iPhones every single year for the next 10 years. Or, if you have another $5,000 down payment, and for an extra $100 a month, you can buy a Tesla. That's what you're going to be paying for $28,000 debt. And this is my personal story too. So this is a screenshot of my actual TD bank account. And you see that number there, $63,000? That's not how much money I have. That's how much money I owe in student loans. So you understand, this is a very serious problem that I need you guys to start thinking about. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but actually I am saying this to scare you. That's exactly why I'm saying it. I want you guys to be afraid. But I want you to use that fear in a positive way. The negative way might be, oh, school's too expensive, I'm not going to do school. Or school's too expensive, I'm just going to find the cheapest program possible. But what I always want you to use that fear is that if you, again, you don't have to, but if you decide to go this route and pick a certain school and pick a certain program, make sure you know exactly why you're doing it and have a plan in place of how you're going to pay for it. So I created a website to basically solve this problem because this is a problem that I had and I know a lot of students as well have. And a lot of my friends have as well. So I created a website called atila.ca to help you guys find scholarships to pay for school. And the idea is very simple. You make a profile, like you see this is my profile here. You put in your program, you put in what school you're in, you put in where your activities are, all that kind of stuff. And it basically helps you find the scholarships that are right just for you. Now this is very, very important because there's a lot of scholarships out there that goes unused every single year. There's about 5 million scholarships. Trying to find the ones that are right for you, just for you and you qualify for, takes way too long. So I built an algorithm that basically take your profile, take all the scholarships and find you, hey, these are all the scholarships, there's like 1,000 scholarships out there, but these are the 100 ones that you qualify for, take a look at them, saving you a lot of time. And then beyond that too, applying for scholarships takes a very, very long time, right? Because the thing is that, for example, you'll have a question I'll ask you, okay, what would you like to do with your career when you graduate from high school, or when you graduate in 700 words? Another question will ask you, what do you want to do with your career when you graduate in 500 words? So you have to take pretty much the exact same question, rewrite it again just to cut off 200 words. So we built an algorithm that will actually do that for you automatically. So if you've answered a question before, we'll find that pre-question so you don't have to worry about rewriting questions over and over again. And not just that, if you've answered a question before, we'll actually shrink it to match the length of the questions. This is going to save you, this is very important because this is going to save you a lot of time. And you guys can probably realize now, you guys are very strapped for time, applying to universities, probably doing work, extracurricular, school, all that kind of stuff. Anything that can save you guys time is going to be very, very important. So I strongly encourage you guys to check it out, atila.ca. It'll help you get a lot of money for school, which you guys are going to need. So I've talked about a lot of stuff here today. And so in conclusion, I just want to sort of say 2 things. First of all, you don't need to know exactly what you want to do with your life. Because, there is no right answer. So stop looking for the right answer. What we should probably try and figure out is 2 things. Understand who you are and understand what you enjoy doing. So there's this beautiful diagram I like, and the idea behind it is basically, look at 3 things. Things that make money, things that you enjoy, and things that you're good at. And what you want to do is you want to find the sweet spot right there. I personally like to say, focus on what you enjoy and what you're good at, because society will let you know very quickly what makes money. And so in conclusion, the 3 main points. Talk to people who have things you think you want. You think you want to be a YouTuber. You think you want to be an accountant. You think you want to be a personal trainer. You think you want to be an Instagram influencer. That's fine. Talk to people who actually have that career. Ask them, are they happy? How did they get there? And people might lie, so you have to ask really good questions. Maybe ask a lot of people to figure out, do they actually enjoy their life? And does my personality match their personality? How do you figure that out? Take a personality test. Myers-Briggs is one, and the Big 5. So again, I'm going to have all this stuff, so if you forget what I said, you can check out the slides. tommywood.ca/talk/high school. Take a personality test. The other one I was going to talk about was, so again, the thing about personality tests is don't take it as gospel, right? Like this might not be exactly who you are, but it just gives you a better sense, a better idea of the kind of person you might be. Journal. Write a journal. Whenever your thoughts go through your heads, write it down. And if you don't like writing, do a video diary. Rip out your video and just sort of talk to the camera about what you're feeling. And the best part is you can make that private. You can put it on a private YouTube, you can put it on your own private Instagram channel, on your own private Instagram page, and not show anyone but yourself. And so that we can sort of keep an idea or running log of what kind of things are going through your head. Ask someone you know well to psychoanalyze you. Right? Find a friend, find a parent, find a sibling, whatever it is, someone you know who you trust to be honest with you. And say, who am I? Like, who do you think I am? What do you think are my weaknesses? What do you think are my strengths? What is something I do that you think just annoys you so much? What is something you think that I do that you think is holding me back? What are my biggest weaknesses? Find someone you know, have them sit you down, and have them just talk to you for 30 minutes, an hour, just psychoanalyzing you, helping you figure out the kind of person that you are. And if you don't have that kind of person in your life, you can always go to a therapist. It can be very helpful and there's nothing wrong with it. Final point, experiment. Treat your life as a science experiment. You know, it kind of baffles me the amount of people that say they like something but they've never tried it before, or they think they like something but they don't try it before. Whenever you think you like it, ask yourself, what is the cheapest and the quickest way I can experiment to find out if I actually like this thing or not? Perfect. You know, and the thing about this is that sometimes, you know, we might think, okay, let's say for example, I think I want to be a nurse, and then so I invest 4 years or 2 years in college or 4 years in university degree to something I think I might like. Why not just run a shorter, cheaper, quicker experiment? Why not volunteer at a hospital for a week, 2 weeks? Why not volunteer at a veterinary clinic? Why not even just talk to someone on the phone and ask them what their job is like? Shout at them for a day. That's a very cheap experiment you can run to figure out whether or not you like something. And like I said to you guys, school is going to be very expensive. And you should be afraid about that. But again, you can use fear in 2 ways. Fear can be used as fuel, and what happens when you put fuel on a house that's burning? It destroys the house. Right? That's fuel. Fuel can also, but you can also take fuel, put it in a Lamborghini, and you're going 300 kilometers per hour. So the same fuel that is being used to burn down a house and destroy everything you built can also be used to drive your Lamborghini and get you to where you want to go in life. The same fuel that is being used to burn down a house and destroy everything you built, that same fuel can be used to drive you where you want to go in life. So it's all a question about how you use it. So, that's it. And I want you to leave guys with one final thought. Who gets to decide what to do with your life? Look in the mirror. Only you get to decide. And life is not like a Netflix special. Nobody knows how the movie ends. It's like a YouTube or a Twitch live stream. Only you get to decide what happens next. Thank you. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to check out the slides again, just go to tommyray.ca/talks, or you can email me, follow me on Instagram, whatever, if you guys have any more questions. I love talking to high school students. I love doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll stay afterwards. So now it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand.